Welcome to FantasyStud, presented by PokerSports, and thank you for creating an account. With this account, you'll now be able to participate in FantasyStud's mock draft contest, play the polished game when the NFL season begins, and receive updates on all of the latest PokerSports news, promotions, and even updates on all the other great games we're in the process of making. FantasyStud is the first step PokerSports is taking in revolutionizing the fantasy sports industry as we know it. And to play the game, go to the FantasyStud homepage, where you'll find a lobby full of tables to join when you click on Lobby. When you've decided which table you want to enter under the Public tab, click on Join on the right-hand side, and you'll be prompted with a message to ensure you want to pay the fee, which is essentially your ante, to join the table. Click Yes, and you'll officially be entered into that contest. Now, it's time to give it a whirl, and FantasyStud can be played in just 4 simple steps. Step 1. The deal. Each user will be given 7 cards face down upon entering the table. They consist of 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 1 tight end. This will be the user's fantasy lineup for the week. Step 2. The betting. Cards are then flipped in between 4 betting rounds. You've already paid your ante upon entering the table, so as soon as the game begins, you are prompted to flip your first quarterback and running back. You then, based on your evaluation of the players you and your opponents receive, decide if you'd like to bet on to the next round or fold. If you elect to fold, you'll continue to see your lineup, but only be eligible to win the amount of money in the pot at the time you fold it. So, for example, if you are at an 8-person table and you elect to fold after your first 2 cards have flipped, and the entry fee was $2, you'll only be eligible to win the money from the $16 in the pot at the time you folded. This process then continues as your lineup is slowly revealed, with 1 wide receiver being flipped after your first bet, a tight end being flipped after you bet again, and your entire lineup being revealed after your final bet. Again, if you fold at any point, you'll be prompted to flip your cards, you just won't be betting any money. Step 3. Swapping, trading, and point multipliers. Once the betting is complete, the fun begins, as each user is allotted 1 swap and 1 trade. A swap gives you the ability to take any player from your lineup and swap him out for a random player that remains in the player pool. That player, however, is not guaranteed to be better than the one you are swapping out. A trade, on the other hand, gives you the ability to make a player-for-player deal with another user in an effort to upgrade your lineup for the coming week. You are only allowed to trade players that are in the same position in order to keep lineups uniform. So, for example, trading a running back for a wide receiver is prohibited. As an added wrinkle, a dollar value of up to $3 may be added to either side of a trade in order to increase the chances of that trade going through. Your strategy when trading and swapping is not so straightforward, however, as FantasyStud adds the exclusive wrinkle of point multipliers. Point multipliers occur when you have multiple players from the same team in your fantasy lineup, or what would be known as a pair in poker. A pair from the same team multiplies the scores of those players by 1.25. 3 of a kind multiplies the scores of those players by 1.5. 4 of a kind multiplies the scores by 1.75. And the illustrious 5 of a kind would result in the scores of those players doubling. Step 4. Game time. After the trading and swapping is complete, it's time to watch your fantasy lineup in action, as the user with the most fantasy points at the end of the week takes home majority of the pot. Anytime you've won money at a particular table, you'll be notified at the top of the screen under the bell icon, and any money you've won at that table will be automatically added back into your account balance. FantasyStud, however, is more than just a game. It's a social experience, and we've added plenty of features exclusive to the game to help enhance your experience. The chat function can be accessed by clicking on the chat icon on the right side of your screen. There, you can chat as a group or privately with other people at your table to discuss any private matters. Additionally, any trades that have been proposed will show up in these private messaging areas. Right below the chat icon, you'll find the standings icon, where you'll be able to see live standings of the scores of and money won by users at the table. The standings are ultimately sorted by the amount of money won by users. To see how the money is determined, users can click on the link to the pay chart at the bottom. The Friends feature allows you to stay connected at all times with those you play FantasyStud with. To add someone at your table as a friend, simply hover over their icon and click Add Friend. For anything friend related, click on the Friends icon on the top of the page. There, you'll find which of your friends are online, any pending friend requests you have, and the search function. Adding friends ultimately makes it easier to play FantasyStud with them, as if you have open spots at your table, you can send invites with ease by clicking Invite and typing a friend's username into the search box. Lastly, the leaderboard allows you to see who reigns supreme on the website at any given time. Simply click on Leaderboards on top to see who the top-ranked FantasyStud players are. Now that you've learned the ins and outs of the site, it's time for you to try out FantasyStud for yourself. Enjoy, and good luck!